What's going on, guys? My name is Keegan Hanks. Welcome to my channel where I talk about health and longevity principles so you can live the life that you want to live on your term. Today we're going to talk about the marginal decade, which is a term coined by Dr. Peter Attia in his recent book, Outlive. It's something that has really changed the way that I think about training for longevity with my clients and for myself. It refers to the last 10 years of your life. And as you can imagine, that's really hard to define. We don't know what day we're gonna die. We don't know the last 10 years of our life for that reason. On top of that, unfortunately, this period of our life is usually the period of the least health. It's going to be riddled with potential diseases, decrease in physical shape, decrease in cognitive abilities in many cases, and it's really just going to be a struggle for most people in this last 10 years. It's not a great period of life for most people, but it doesn't have to be the default. If we're able to think about it now and reverse engineer what we want, then we have a better chance of living a better marginal decade. And the best part of that is we have control over it. I am a personal trainer and a coach. The things I talk about in this video and other videos are from my own research and things that I do while working with my clients one-on-one. I am not a medical professional. If you feel like you are running the risk of any of these diseases, please make sure you are seeking medical help to help diagnose and treat. As I mentioned, the marginal decade is not a date you put on the calendar. It's more of a thought experiment to establish goals for yourself. When we think about what we want for our own marginal decade, we can reverse engineer how to get there. Dr. Peter Attia calls this the centenarian decathlon. And in essence, it's 10-ish activities that you decide that you want to be able to do in your marginal decade, and you're setting yourself up to train for those. It's essentially the 10-ish activities that you want to be able to do in your marginal decade. These activities could range from anything that you want to do that's meaningful for you. Generally speaking, it's going to be within two categories: activities of daily living or recreational activities. This makes training for longevity incredibly individual because the things that you're going to want to do and the things that I want to do are vastly different. I have a client who wants to be a Highland Games world champion. I have another client who wants to be able to hang for 2 minutes and be able to walk up 2 flights of stairs without any pain or loss of breath. For me, I want to be able to hang out with my grandkids, move freely, travel, and go for hikes at will. If you're interested in these conversations about living longer, living a healthier life, living a life on your terms, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's totally free and it would be greatly appreciated. So why should you consider your marginal decade? Considering both your marginal decade and centenarian decathlon is vitally important to live on your terms because you're setting the groundwork for what you want to be able to do. It gives you the roadmap for you to live and thrive on your term. And I'm gonna have a different roadmap than you are, so I can't tell you what that looks like, but once you have the basis of the activities that you wanna be able to do, we can then work backwards and find out what we need to be doing now to be able to achieve those later. If you've ever felt unmotivated in the gym, or you've lacked a drive to go to the gym or to choose your health, then thinking about this and establishing these goals can help you find that motivation, can help you find that purpose in the gym. You're no longer doing meaningless exercise. You're now training for a purpose. You're training for something. I see this very commonly with clients who are wanting to get ready for an event or a race or a photo shoot or something. They get really motivated, they get really driven until that date comes. And then once that date comes, they stop doing everything that they were doing previously. They slowly regress back to where they were before they started. And then they choose another event and they start the process all over again. It's a constant cycle of back and forth, back and forth. Again, this is training for your life. And it's based off the life that you want to live, the activities that you want to be able to do. So it's gonna have a lot more meaning and purpose to you than it is for anybody else. And the good thing about it is it's fine if it changes. Having the general fitness to be able to do whatever 10 activities you wanna do now is gonna enable you to be able to change that and do 10 different activities if you feel the need to, or if you feel a desire to. So now that you've kind of thought about what it is and why it's important, how can you actually implement this plan? Obviously, to first build the plan, to establish the plan, you have to think about those 10 activities that you want to be able to do. So what is your centenarian decathlon? Again, these are going to be activities of daily living or activities of recreation like basketball, baseball, whatever, golf, whatever you want to be able to do. Once you start with that question and you answer that question, it's going to give you the framework to then start to build the rest of the plan on how to actually achieve that. Like for me, if I want to be able to hike in my marginal decade, I need to be able to hike now. Physical decline as we age is an inevitability, but it's something that we can work with as long as we're thinking ahead. What we need to be doing with our training to help achieve these activities or centenarian decathlon is overshoot our goals, overshoot our capacity to do whatever we want to be able to do down the road. But unfortunately, there's not a hard and fast rule as to how much you're going to lose as you age. So overshooting as much as possible is always a best bet. If I want to do 1 mile, overshooting to 3, 5, even 10 is a great insurance policy to ensure that I can actually be able to do the things that I want to do. Dr. Peter Attia has a really great quote. If you plan on living a remarkable marginal decade, all of the decades leading up to that need to be remarkable as well. Doing as much as you can now gives you the leeway to lean into the natural process of aging and to lose a little bit while still being able to maintain the things that you really want to be able to do. And it's okay if 1 mile is a big hike for you, but that is something that we can shoot for and we can plan for and train for. Now, how do we actually train for these activities? The basic framework of all exercise can be broken into 4 different things. We have aerobic capacity or zone 2 training. We have peak aerobic output or VO2 max. We have stability, which can be broken into mobility and flexibility. And then we have strength. Strength, which is arguably the most important, as I mentioned in the last video. There was a research study that showed a decrease in all-cause mortality with an increase in strength versus any other metric. When you're looking down your list of centenarian decathlon, breaking those into the different areas of exercise can help you kind of build the idea of what you need to be focusing on predominantly. Now, most things are going to break into multiple different categories, but there is generally going to be this primary main one, i.e. with hiking, it's predominantly going to be an aerobic efficiency exercise where we can work on it with other zone 2 training or more hiking. But we're also going to need stability so we're not rolling our ankles or falling and hurting ourselves on the trail. We also need strength to be able to pick ourselves up and pick up any pack or anything that we're carrying up the mountain. And we need peak aerobic output because it's going to give us the leeway to make this a more comfortable exercise. And if you want to learn more about the relationship between zone 2 and VO2 max, check out the video in the card right up here. The positive side effect of choosing 10-ish activities is it's most likely going to encompass a multitude of different movements and exercises and activities, and this pushes us to be a jack of all trades, which is far better than being hyper-specific on one thing and able to move our body in all these different ways. Then even if our list is going to change down the road, recreational activities do pose a very specific issue that you do need to be aware of. They're a lot more repetitive in nature, and tennis specifically have a very repetitive nature in the way that the swing pattern is. If you're playing 18 rounds of golf, say 2-3 times a week, over the years that could be thousands of swings in the exact same way that you're doing it. So there needs to be some thought to how you can counteract that. 2 of the best ways to do it would be either time off from golf, but if that's something that you really want to do, that's probably not going to be an option. And then number 2 is working with someone or figuring it out on your own. Fixed strength training to support the other side. If you're not really sure what to do for the specific strength training, make sure you're working with a exercise specialist, or you can comment down below on what's playing and I can help walk you through some different options for you. As we age, our training should encompass multiple different styles. Many just focus on one or two different categories. Great, it's better than the American average, but again, we're trying to live remarkable. Focus on all four to live a truly remarkable marginal decade. Thinking about and planning out your centenarian decathlon is a goal for our training and our exercise leading to our marginal decade. It gives us a purpose in the gym, and that purpose gives us passion, motivation, and determination to get back in there. So if you guys found this helpful, if you learned anything, please make sure you share this video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.